What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Rebel Rising by Beth Revis. So to me, what stands out the most about this book and what my biggest takeaway from it is that you really get a full understanding of where Jyn is at in Rogue One, because a lot of people have issues with her in that movie and just like with the characters in general in that movie, in that she doesn't make sense. They don't understand why she's doing anything. It just seems like she's being pulled around from scene to scene, and then suddenly she has hope and understands everything and is ready to fight for everything, and it just felt unsatisfying for a lot of people. I don't have that issue, but I understand why people would have it, and I want to say that Rebel Rising really does fix a lot of that stuff. I say it in my spoiler-free review, but if you read all three books that tie in with Rogue One, if you read Catalyst, Rebel Rising, and the Rogue One novel, it all ties into her story. It is Jyn's complete story from when she was born to when she dies, and you get a ton of development with her. And in the beginning of this book, you see Jyn really struggling with what's happened to her. She was just living this normal life on Lemieux, and all of a sudden, her father is taken from her. Her mother is killed before her very eyes, and now she's having to go off with somebody that she doesn't really know all that well. She's going off with Saw Gerrera, who she knows she can trust, but she doesn't really know him, and she just wants her father. She doesn't understand why he's gone, why he hasn't come back for her, and she's very young, and all of this is already starting to set in, and she's already starting to build up this resentment towards other people. And what's interesting is that Saw is an extremist. We do know that he works with the rebels, but not really, because his views are very extreme. He has a very interesting way he thinks they should be taking down the Empire, and the Rebel Alliance does not agree with that. And Jyn is growing up with somebody like this. She's going through her very formative years with an extremist and having to listen to his views, and growing up with the people that he's bringing into his circle. And you see again how that's all kind of influencing Jyn and how she views the world and how she sees things. And by the time she's 16, we have somebody who doesn't really believe in anything. She doesn't necessarily believe in the cause. She doesn't really believe in the rebels or the Empire, but she does have this resentment that's growing in her. She's at this point now where she believes that her father must be dead, because why hasn't he come back for her? If he hasn't come back for her, then he has to be dead, because if he's not, she has to deal with the fact that maybe he just didn't want to come back for her. Maybe he didn't love her. Something must have happened. So she's dealing with that, and she's not really concerned with anything else that's going on. She's just grappling with the fact that the Empire kind of, shook up her life, and she doesn't really know what to make of it quite yet. But then when she's about 16 years old, her whole life is torn apart again, because this big plot, this deal that was going on with Saw Gerrera goes totally south, and she's separated from everybody that she knows all over again. She's left alone all over again, because the rebels, because the Empire. She's stuck in this war that she doesn't necessarily believe in. She doesn't understand why she's in it. All it does is just mess up her life. And you start to see this resentment, this bitterness really growing inside of her. It starts to subside a little bit because she spends some time with this family. She spends a year with this boy and his mom, and she finally starts to feel like maybe she could have that belonging. And then here come the rebellion and the Empire again. She's just stuck in the crosshairs, and she's tired of it. She's sick of it. She's sick of people dying because of this. She's sick of the fact that because she's Galen Erso's daughter, that all of this is happening to her, and she's quickly becoming very empty. She's quickly becoming somebody who doesn't believe in anything. She doesn't believe in the rebellion. She doesn't believe in the Empire. All they do is mess everything up for her, and she's just empty. She's just tired. She wants to have a normal life, and at this point, she doesn't really care what she's doing or where she is or where she's going in life. She's just kind of aimlessly wandering. And this book does end with her kind of pseudo working for this imperial officer, she's making forged credits for her. She doesn't really care why she's doing it, what she's going to use it for. All she needs is money, because she just wants to keep surviving. And she gets put in as a spy to this little rebel group, and she sees how they're a family and how she could belong here again, and she kind of starts to believe in that. And then again, it's just all snatched out from underneath her, but this time it lands her in prison. And by that point, she's just completely broken. She doesn't have any more hope left. She doesn't believe in anything. She's just stuck. And if she hadn't have been rescued from that prison, she probably would have just stayed there until she died and just not really cared about anything. And it's very traumatic. She really does live with a lot of this trauma, and it really does build on her. So it's very obvious to me why she is the way that she is in Rogue One. How she says that, it's not a problem for her if she doesn't look up. It doesn't matter that the Empire's flag is flying above everybody. It doesn't matter that people are living in oppression. All that matters is herself and surviving and continuing on to the next day. That is until she sees her father again, when she's confronted with her past, and she finally finds out that the reason her father didn't come back wasn't because he didn't want to, it's because he couldn't, and that he still loved her. And suddenly she has something to fight for again. Suddenly she's filled with hope. She has a cause that she's willing to fight for, and that inspires people. That really does start to rub off on other people. This is a time, I feel like, for the rebellion where hope was running very thin, and Jyn sparks that again. Jyn shows them that they do have something to fight for, that they do have hope, and this eventually leads to her death. This leads to a lot of people's death, but she dies feeling like she has a purpose again, and it's just very satisfying now finally getting to see her whole story. It just feels very satisfying. It all wraps up in a really interesting way, and I feel like Rebel Rising really just adds so much to Jyn's character. So if you haven't read this story, I do highly recommend that you do. It just fits into the canon and like the overall story just so well, and I feel like it's just really, really well done. I love the style of writing. I think that Beth Revis did an amazing job, and it's a really cool read. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe so you can talk books with me every week. That is everything got for you today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!